All right, y'all. So Marco Rubio went on a bunch of the Sunday shows, and he absolutely humiliated himself and collapsed into a pile of dust. I mean, this is... The other day we were speculating if he was on cocaine. Well, today we should be speculating about how much more he should take, because he was not doing well this interview. He was sweaty. He was a mess. He probably needed a little bit of that booger sugar in order to get through this interview and come across more convincing. So let's start with this one right here. He's on Meet the Press, and he's asked straight up if he's currently running Venezuela. Let's watch.
Mr. Secretary, who is in charge? Are you running Venezuela right now?
Yeah, I mean, I keep people, fixating on that. Here's the bottom line on it is we expect to see changes in Venezuela. Changes of all kinds, long-term, short-term. We'd love to see all kinds of changes, but the most immediate changes are the ones that are in the national interest of the United States. That's why we're involved here, because of how it applies and has a direct impact on the United States.
It's so insane to say that. Not even your strongest fucking supporters can come up with a bullshit argument about how this is in the interest of the United States. There's no argument for self-defense here. Like, oh, Maduro was about to attack Tuscaloosa. Fucking nonsense. Everybody knows that's nonsense. Oh my God.
Be able to allow in our hemisphere a country that becomes a crossroads for the activities of all of our adversaries around the world. We just can't allow it. We can't have a country where the people in charge of its military and in charge of its police department are openly cooperating with drug trafficking organizations. We're not going to allow that. These things are direct threats to the United States, and we intend to use every element of leverage that we have to ensure that changes.
So, needless to say, the drug thing is a total lie. The other point is he keeps bringing up these arguments like, oh, it's in our backyard, it's in our hemisphere. What the fuck does that mean? Venezuela could say the same thing about us. Is that an excuse or reason for Maduro to be able to confiscate and run the U.S. government? Well, it's in my hemisphere. What do you want me to do? What the fuck does that mean? Oh, it's in my backyard. No, that's not your backyard. That's your neighbor's house. And you're not allowed to steal your neighbor's house. Right? Like, what is this? They're going back to old school, early 1900s sphere of influence politics. Or another way they refer to it is geopolitical realism. That's what they call it. And it's this idea that all the big powers, they have a region that they subjugate, that they control. And anything outside of that region, you got to be hands off. If it's within that region, you can oppress and subjugate as much as you want. You can exploit as much as you want. And so that's why, and we're going to do a story on this tomorrow, but there may have been a secret deal between Trump and Russia where he says to Russia, all right, you know what? Go ahead. You guys get Ukraine, but we're going to be able to take Venezuela. I'll trade you Ukraine for Venezuela. It's very possible that deal was made. There's some reason to believe that deal was made. And this is the mindset of what Marco Rubio is saying here. It's an old school imperialist mindset. Let's keep going. Here, he denies that we need Venezuela's oil.
The president says the U.S. is taking over the oil. The question is, I guess, if the purpose of the operation was to capture Maduro and bring him to justice, why does the United States need to take over the Venezuelan oil industry?
Right, yeah. If it's all, you tell us half the time, it's all about drugs. He's trafficking drugs, he's killing people, even though that's bullshit and it's not true, and our own intelligence agencies admit it. Okay, but if that's the case, why do you need to steal the oil, and why are you blurting out that you're stealing the oil?
Well, we don't need to. First, let me go back up. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We have plenty of oil in the United States. What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States.
Okay, let me just pause to point out, all of that is bullshit. We do, according to these idiots and assholes and imperialists, we do need that oil. Because the type of oil that comes out of Venezuela is heavy crude oil. We have a lot of specialized refineries here in the U.S. that need heavy crude oil. We don't have any heavy crude oil here. Some of it comes from Canada. The most of it is in Venezuela, right? We have the other kind of gas here. We have the shale gas here. That's what you get through fracking. We don't have that oil, and we need that oil to keep these refineries going. We also need it to create asphalt, to create jet fuel, to create a bunch of stuff that we use in a modern developed economy. So when you go, oh, we don't even need that. You absolutely fucking do. All of you believe that you do, without a doubt.
The oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States. You have to understand, why does China need their oil? Why does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil?
It's not that they need their oil. It's that they are a sovereign, independent country, and they chose to make deals with those other countries, probably in part because they're not threatening them on a daily basis. They're not doing violence against them on a regular basis. They're not threatening regime change or, I don't know, kidnapping their fucking president. Look at the way he talks about this entitlement, this idea. Well, obviously we get to control the sovereign, independent country of Venezuela because I say so. Well, that's not a fucking argument. Excuse me. Again, is it an argument for Venezuela to say, oh, the U.S. is in our hemisphere. That's ours now. No, you'd laugh that out of the room. So why shouldn't we laugh this out of the room?
They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors, and rivals of the United States.
Have specific oil companies?
We also want to see that oil and the proceeds from it. Hold on. We want to see the oil proceeds of that country benefit the people of Venezuela. Why have 8 million people left Venezuela?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, that's rich. Oh, my God, that's rich. He literally flips the truth on its head. If U.S. oil companies go in there and take this oil, literally none of that will help the people of Venezuela. None of it. It'll help a bunch of fucking U.S. oil executives and billionaires. It'll help fucking ExxonMobil and Citgo, which was just taken over by a Zionist right-wing MAGA billionaire in this country. Okay? That's who it'll help. Ironically, they're overthrowing Maduro. Under the Chavismo system, it's nationalized oil. The proceeds do go to the people. Now, they're only exporting a small amount because they don't have the ability to extract it as quickly as they'd like to, right? But right now, the people profit off the oil. If he gets his way and the U.S. oil companies get their way and Trump gets his way, they won't. He just flips the truth on its head.
8 million, the single largest mass migration probably in modern history, left Venezuela in 2014 because all the wealth of that country was stolen to the benefit of Maduro and his cronies in the regime, but not to the
And you want it to be stolen for the benefit of U.S. billionaires and oil companies.
benefit of people of Venezuela. You know how destabilizing 8 million migrants is?
You're going to get more fucking migrants now because you did a regime change. If violence breaks out and a civil war breaks out and there's a power vacuum that they struggle for, more people will come here.
The number one fear that Brazil has, that Colombia has, that all these countries in the region have about what's happening in Venezuela and our involvement is they're afraid of another mass migration event.
And you're trying to facilitate that. Oh, my God.
This is deeply destabilizing stuff. It's not going to continue to happen.
The guy who just did the regime change is going, I'm against this destabilization. Oh, my God. I hate these people so much. Everything about them is fucking demonic.
And they are not going to come from outside of our hemisphere, destabilize our region in our own backyard, and us have to pay the price for it. Not under President Trump.
All right, so now George Stephanopoulos is going to go after him, and George Stephanopoulos is going to hit him with, all right, well, again, you guys keep saying half the time that it's about drugs. Well, then why the fuck did Trump pardon a convicted narco trafficker who sent $20 billion worth of drugs into this country? You can't say it's about drugs as you're freeing the worst fucking narco traffickers in history.
You mentioned the indictment of Mr. Maduro, and of course it does detail his drug running operations. In the same jurisdiction, the former president of Honduras was actually convicted on similar charges, yet the president pardoned him. Here's what the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, had to say about that. He said, you cannot credibly argue that drug trafficking charges demand invasion in one case while issuing a pardon in another. What's your response?
Well, the president has the pardon authority. He's the one that reviewed the file with the folks at the White House to make these pardon decisions, and I refer questions to them on it because I'm not involved in the pardon process. So I can't comment on that because I wasn't involved in that process. But the president outlined yesterday that he felt that in that particular case there was unfairness, and that there was unfairness in the way that individual was treated. And he also pointed to the fact that the party that's now won the elections in Honduras had asked for this. And so I would point to those comments as a rationale for it. In the case of Maduro.
Let me decode that for you. Yes, I can't believe my idiot boss actually pardoned a guy who was a massive narco trafficker. At the same time, we're arguing we have to kidnap Maduro for narco trafficking. And I have nothing to say, so I'm just going to defer to, I had nothing to do with that, but also the president says X, Y, and Z. Low-key, he's fucking furious about that.
Look, it's very simple. This guy was indicted. No one ever did anything about it.
Maduro was indicted. Nobody ever did anything about it. Fucking Netanyahu's a proven war criminal and a genocidal maniac. Should any country be able to go in there and fucking arrest him? This is the logic you're setting up. Donald Trump is a war criminal. George W. Bush is a war criminal. Why shouldn't somebody from Iran or somebody from Russia or somebody from China fucking arrest them and drag them to their country, right? You don't get to say only we reserve this right. We can indict a sovereign independent leader in a different country and then kidnap him and drag him here to stand trial. Okay, then why can't other countries do that to us? I got bad news for you. Our leaders are way bigger criminals than leaders from around the world. When you are the global empire, you're the one that commits the most crimes. So all of our leaders would be arrested like that in a world that had this sort of dynamic laid out.
I think he was under threat that the indictment was ever going to be enforced. It was enforced yesterday.
Hernandez was convicted by a jury.
I understand. You're asking me. The pardon authority is something that, I'm not involved in my role. I'm not criticizing it. I can't just comment on it because I just wasn't involved in those deliberations.
What a bitch. I can't criticize it because my boss will throw a fucking temper tantrum like a baby, so I'm just going to fucking sidestep.
Do you support it?
Oh, great question.
I wasn't involved in those deliberations. I haven't looked at the case file. I haven't looked at the arguments made by, I've got a bunch of other things going on that are within my purview as Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, but pardons aren't one of them. So I can't comment on a case that, frankly, I'm aware of, but not deeply and familiar with, and I don't want to comment on something that I haven't had a chance to be involved in reviewing the file and the rationale behind it.
What's so crazy is that this regime is so incompetent and so inept and so evil that they make the Bush regime look way more intelligent in comparison. And of course, in my lifetime, they were like the worst of the worst until now. where now you get situations like this, where they pardon a $20 billion narco trafficker at the same time they arrest Maduro allegedly for narco trafficking. It's a sick joke. It's a sick joke. All right, more from Stephanopoulos and Marco Rubio. Here we go.
President Trump was pretty clear yesterday. He said the United States is going to run Venezuela. Under what legal authority?
Well, first of all, what's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do. So that leverage remains.
These guys don't even care about the American people. Is anybody naive enough to think they give a shit about the Venezuelan people? That's a serious question. They just kicked 18 million people off Medicaid and tripled everybody's healthcare premiums. At the same time, they cut food stamp money and cut 94 million pounds of food aid, right? And I'm supposed to believe that this government gives a shit about Venezuelans when they don't even give a shit about Americans who they're supposed to represent?
Is ongoing, and we expect that it's going to lead to results here. We're hopeful that it does, positive results for the people of Venezuela, but ultimately, most importantly for us, in the national interest of the United States. We will no longer have, hopefully, as we move forward here, we'll set the conditions so that we no longer have in our hemisphere a Venezuela that's the crossroads for many of our adversaries around the world, including Iran and Hezbollah, is no longer sending...
Oh, yeah. There's a massive Hezbollah presence in Venezuela.
Drug gangs, is no longer sending us drug boats, is no longer a narco trafficking paradise for all
this lies. By the way, if it's a free and fair trial, Maduro's going to get off. He's just going to get off, right? The only way they could actually, lock him up and have consequences from here is if it's just a complete fucking show trial. So... is it a show trial? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
All those drugs coming out of Colombia to going through the Caribbean and towards the United States. And obviously, we want a better future for the people of Venezuela. We want them to have an oil industry where the wealth goes to the people.
Again, flips the truth on its head. It's the opposite. You want the wealth for ExxonMobil and U.S. oil companies and billionaires. Right now, it's nationalized and the people get the wealth with the Venezuelan government in control.
To a handful of corrupt individuals and stolen by, pirates all over the world. That's what we're working towards, and we intend to use the leverage we have to help achieve that.
Let me ask the question again. What is the legal authority for the United States to be running Venezuela?
There is none. There's absolutely none. Everybody knows it. It's the most obvious thing in the world.
Well, I explained to you what our goals are and how we're going to use the leverage to make it happen. As far as what our legal authority is on the quarantine, I'm very simple. We have court orders. These are sanctioned boats, and we get orders from courts to go after and seize these.
You don't do foreign policy by fucking court order, you jackass. What if fucking Trump was indicted in China? Can they kidnap him and bring him there and fucking lock him up for life?
Sanctions. So that's, I don't know, is a court not a legal authority?
So is the United States running Venezuela right now?
Well, I've explained once again, I'll do it one more time. What we are running is the direction that this is going to move moving forward. And that is, we have...
That literally means nothing. By the way, I'll answer this question for you. What they did is they kidnapped Maduro, overthrew him, but left the VP, who has the same ideology, in place. And they feel like they can coerce her and extort her and force her to basically serve U.S. oil companies, right? That's what they did. And so it's yet to be seen whether or not that'll happen. There's a chance they made a secret deal with her, but based on her bio, it seems kind of unlikely, right? So we're still in a place where a Maduro-like character is still running Venezuela. So what happens then? I guess we'll all find out.
This leverage we are using and we intend to use, we started using already. You can see where they are running out of storage capacity. In a few weeks, they're going to have to start pumping oil unless they make changes. And that leverage that we have with the armada of boats that are currently positioned allow us to seize any sanctioned boats coming into or out of Venezuela.
So in other words, we're going to continue to do an illegal blockade and a forever war in order to extort and fucking coerce the president to do what we want.
Loaded with oil or on its way in to pick up oil, and we can pick and choose which ones we go after. We have court orders for each one. That will continue to be in place until the people who have control over the levers of power in that country make changes that are not just in the interest of the people of Venezuela, but are in the interest of the United States and the things that we care about.
Notice the same people who were blowing off court orders relentlessly in the first year of Trump's regime, now all of a sudden he's pretending like he has bogus court orders to do an illegal regime change and an illegal blockade. It's unbelievable how dishonest these guys are. All right, Marco Rubio absolutely shits the bed when it comes to the comparison between Venezuela and Iraq.
Let's talk big picture here. U.S. regime change, historically speaking, has not gone very well for the United States. In Iraq, in Libya, to name a few examples. Can you assure Americans, the people of the United States, that this time will be different?
Well, here's what's happened. We've got this phobia built up and this sort of thing that's it's like, number one, most of the experts that people have on television, I watch these experts and it's clown hour. Okay, these are people that have focused their entire career on the Middle East or some other part of the world because that's where all the action was. Very few of them know anything about Venezuela or the Western Hemisphere. Venezuela looks nothing like Libya. It looks nothing like Iraq. It looks nothing like Afghanistan. It looks nothing like the Middle East other than the Iranian agents that are running through their plotting against America. Okay, these are Western countries with long traditions among their on a people-to-people and cultural level and ties to the United States. So there's nothing like that. So I think people need to stop ascribing the apples and oranges here, the apples of the Middle East or the oranges of the Western Hemisphere.
This is so fucking disgusting because the comparison is in the principle of what we're doing here. It is an illegal and offensive attack against a country that didn't attack us, was not threatening us, right? We are deposing the leader with no plan as to what comes afterwards, and we're doing it for oil, okay? So it is in the principle of what's going on here. For him to say, well, technically Venezuela is a very different country from Iraq, like they speak different languages, for example. Like, who gives a shit about that? That's not what we're talking about. Like, it's such a fucking pedantic way to try to nitpick your way out of the fact that this is exactly alike. Now, by the way, just to put a finer point on that, here are the eerie parallels between the run-up to Iraq and the run-up to Venezuela, and Jon Stewart lays it out for us perfectly.
Eerie is the Iraq parallel? Well, we got one guy making the same case for both wars. And yes, it's who you think.
Saddam Hussein's a threat to my country. He's a threat to our way of life. He needs to go.
Maduro is an existential threat to the people of the United States.
It is time for Maduro to go.
Hit me with the works. Iraq, Venezuela, go!
We're giving them full opportunity to do it the easy way. And when it doesn't work, we'll do it the hard way.
If we can do things the easy way, that's fine. And if we have to do it the hard way, that's fine too.
Chemical weapons as a threat to the United States.
Fentanyl poses a chemical weapons threat to the United States.
Al-Qaeda terrorists inside Iraq.
Al-Qaeda of our hemisphere.
We can get rid of Saddam. It could really begin to transform the region.
There's an opportunity to transform the entire region.
Bringing freedom and democracy.
Democracy and freedom can serve as a beacon of hope.
Shock and awe.
Shock and awe indeed. If you think this is getting confusing, you're not alone. Even senators can't keep these Bush or Trump wars straight. This is Senator Tom Cotton from this weekend.
I think President Bush has every power under the Constitution to strike boats in international waters.
Oopsie poopsie.
Venezuela has the largest reserves of oil in the world. Venezuela that has a rich, talk about rich natural energy resources.
Massive oil reserve. They have gold. They have rare earth.
Oil, gold, and minerals. And I'm sure there are U.S. companies that would like to do business there.
Venezuela for the American oil companies will be a field day.
I didn't think this war was a wise decision, but if it helps the oil companies smile again.
And America first means we need a Western hemisphere where America is dominant.
If you're focused on America and America first, you start with your own hemisphere where we live.
America first also means the Americas first.
South America literally has the name America in it.
Spitting image, and everybody sees it. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.